Right in the heart of the Centennial State lies 195 square miles of pure mountain bliss. At just about a mile over sea level, you'll see some interesting rock formations, Rocky Mountains, and of course the iconic Pikes Peak Mountain. Colorado Springs is an absolute paradise for those who appreciate the nature living vibe and adventure seeking lifestyle. From our historic charm and insane landscapes, you'll never wonder why Colorado Springs is a popular tourist destination. Now, today we're going to be exploring the beautiful and captivating city of Colorado Springs, right in the center of Colorado. Number 15, the altitude. Colorado Springs is known for its altitude, and many people don't realize that we're actually higher than Denver. No pun intended. Sitting at about 6,035 feet above sea level, our elevation is significantly higher than many other cities, and it can be quite the change for visitors or new people moving to the area. So a lot of people experience physical exertion because of the thin air and lower oxygen levels. Some people will get headaches and nosebleeds, and if you're going to have any reaction when it comes to the altitude, you'll definitely know right away. Some people get used to it while others tend to struggle. I would say that it's not as common as people think, but definitely something to be aware of. Now, if you're ever up for an altitude challenge, you should definitely go to Seven Falls and hit those stairs. Number 14. Colorado Springs offers some pretty dramatic landscapes with a strong presence of wildlife and nature. When you think of Colorado Springs, you often reflect on mountains, snow, and forested areas with evergreen trees that show their beauty year-round. But we're also known for one of Colorado's 58 14ers, which is the Pikes Peak Mountain, also known as America's Mountain. And this mountain is basically the backdrop of our cities. It's truly stunning and something that I never get tired of seeing. But it's not just mountains and wildlife and beautiful scenery. We've got an urban vibe too that completes the perfect lifestyle. Number 13, climate. Colorado Springs has a unique climate because of the elevation. And being on the other side of the mountains, the summers are pretty warm and sunny, and temperatures usually hover around 80 degrees, but our 80 degrees tends to feel a lot hotter than your 80 degrees because of the altitude and the thin air. So even on cloudy days, you can get sunburnt. So it's always a good time and idea to wear sunscreen. But otherwise, the weather is pretty perfect. Once it starts to get above the 80s, which it can get all the way up to 95 degrees, it starts to make us retreat for air conditioning. So it's less comfortable, you're sweating, you're closer to the sun. So it's like super hot air on your face. And then you could, again, get a sunburn. So I'm not complaining. I would just rather be hot than cold, honestly. My favorite season is springtime. It's the perfect weather. The trees are waking up. The weather is really interesting. Usually in the wintertime, if the weather is extra warm and nice, I always say enjoy it while you can because a winter storm is probably on the way. So it seems like the warmer the weather, the bigger the storm. So that's the winter time. I always think of it as nature's gift before the cold snow. And this weather can change within minutes. It is the strangest thing. The wind is also a thing here. The further northeast you go, the stronger it blows. And if you catch a good wind during a snowstorm on the northeast side, so like Peyton and Falcon areas, you could be stuck at home all day and you'll get those snow drifts out there, Meridian Ranch, any of those northeast sides of town where there's not a ton of trees that are blocking the wind. All right, number 12 is the economy. Colorado Springs' economy is booming, and it's all pretty exciting to see the new businesses, projects coming to the area. However, the growing pains are definitely here, and we are definitely feeling it, and they do plan to stay for a while. So we've got so much building, traffic, and people everywhere. Colorado Springs is the perfect place to live with its trifecta of high tech, high tourism, and high military. So these things tend to help insulate the market fluctuations. So they provide a little more confidence when it comes to stability and growth for our market, which is what makes us so desirable. Number 11 is our employment. So our top employers are going to be military and defense, technology, and aerospace. We've got healthcare and education. So if you're thinking about moving to Colorado Springs and these jobs intrigue you, you may want to consider relocating here. And on that note, if you need help buying or selling real estate, feel free to call me. I'm never too busy to help. This number is actually my direct line. So when you call, you actually do get a real person. That's me. Now, on that same token, I do get a ton of calls. And so sometimes I can't always get to the phone. Just always leave a message and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But I want you to know that I'm never too busy to help. So I've been talking to a lot of education professionals and military relocation. I am certified to help military specifically, and I have a ton of experience behind that. So I can definitely help out. As far as additional employment goes, we have restaurants, government, and public jobs, construction, of course, since it's never ending construction, retail and hospitality. And everywhere I go, I see signs of shops that are hiring. However, sometimes the hiring pay is not enough to sustain the cost of living, which we will get to later in this video. But with our steady growth and diverse workforce, we're always attracting new talent and opportunities. If you want to work your way up into the restaurant industry, that's definitely an option. Maybe you dream of owning your restaurant one day. There's a lot of opportunities here to do that. Number 10 is education. Now, when I worked at Fountain Fort Carson, we used to host and participate in these big, giant recruiting events for the schools. And my job was to facilitate with finding the top teachers and working with new hires. So once they got hired, then I would put them through the onboarding process. And a lot of times they were relocating from other states. But our public schools have some really great programs, and we offer charter schools, private schools. Our school districts are listed on my website and on the resources page if you want to learn more about each school district, or you can shoot me an email if you have any questions. But we've got UCCS, Colorado College, Pikes Peak Community College, and then the Air Force Academy. And there are a lot of other vocational schools. And I personally went to Colorado Christian University for undergraduate studies, and I liked it. I liked being able to go to school once a week, in the evening times. But you have places like Pima as well. You've got online, of course. So really anything that you need, we've got you covered here. We do cater to a variety of students and professors too. So if you're looking for a job here, it's a good place to look. Number 9, life. Day-to-day life activities range depending on the season and the time of year. Now, my husband and I, we visited the ice castles in Cripple Creek. Usually it's in Dillon, which is a lot further away, so we tend to not make that drive, but it's a really neat and fun thing to do. They have it, really nice where they have music playing. You kind of feel like you're in the Disney movie. They had their fire pits outside to keep everybody warm. One thing I would have wished I known was that we needed boots that were probably at least shin high so that you didn't get snow inside of your shoes, which is exactly what I did. I wore my Nikes and that was the worst idea. And I know I'm from Colorado. I should know better, but I didn't. But I thought it was really nice that they had it in Cripple Creek. So it was only an hour west of Colorado Springs. Cripple Creek is this small historic town with a lot of casinos and things to do. We usually like to go walk around, eat some ice cream. And then what I love about living in Colorado Springs is the proximity to everything fun. So if you want adventure, you can go hit the Royal Gorge for whitewater rafting or ATV off-roading and bungee diving, which is something I would never do. But when you're at the Royal Gorge Bridge, you can see people jumping off, and it's just, I've had friends that have done it and it's too intimidating for me. But I have tried the whitewater rafting, which I loved. So a hard pass for me on the bungee diving, but some people really love it. And people that live in Colorado, they tend to be into extreme sports. So they'll go snowboarding, skiing, and things like that. There's a giant reservoir in Pueblo, so you can take your boats out and enjoy the water. Estes Park is great if you are a fan of The Shining and you like to be scared, but it's also a true Colorado experience. And there's hot springs too, so everything is just within hours away. The only thing that we don't have is a beach. We're landlocked, so you'll have to go a bit further for the beach. But as far as shopping goes, like groceries, we have a King Soopers, we have Walmart, we have Target, we have obviously your local mom and pop shops. And as far as some of the banks that we have, I know a lot of people ask about that. Some of the popular banks are Chase Bank, Wells Fargo. Although they don't have the best reputation, you can always Google that for more. And then Ent Bank, which is a kind of more of like a private bank. And yes, we do have Bank of America for all of you Relo watchers, but we've got a ton of restaurants and things to do. I have a full video on all this, so I'll link it below for you. Also, it is true that people wear sandals and shorts here in the winter with beanies or knitted caps. For all my East Coast people, it's a Colorado thing. Number 8 is the activities. Colorado Springs is filled with activities and fun things to do. It's why we're considered a tourist town. So we've grown a lot over the last few years, which has brought in some fun places like indoor skydiving, Top Golf, a ton of shopping centers, and amazing restaurants. Now, we used to have to go to Denver to do all of this fun stuff, so it's kind of nice that we don't have to go as far. But with us being an active lifestyle city, hiking and parks are always free, and the parking is easier to find than some of your larger cities. You can also do rock climbing, horseback riding, you can visit the North Pole, nature centers, and we have an annual hot air balloon festival at Memorial Park. You can actually purchase tickets to fly in those hot air balloons. And the Springs is really great for people who enjoy and appreciate the outdoor lifestyle and culture. It's definitely a place for families to have fun and relax. It's a resort town more than it is a big city. So a lot of people will ask me what our culture is like here, and we have deep roots here with our American Indian tribes. So the city recognizes the second Monday in October as Indigenous Peoples Day. So some of the tribes from our history include the Ute, the Kiowa, Comanche, Cheyenne, and Arapaho. So you'll see like all of our street names kind of follow along like that, like the Sawatch and Cimarron and all the unique and interesting names. But as you go throughout the city, you might see partnerships with the tribes. Red Rock Canyon has so much history, and you'll see these areas with their unique formations. You'll see beautiful performances during Territory Days, which is a huge event that we have each year. We also have plenty of museums and galleries like the Fine Arts Center, Pioneers Museum. We also have the National Museum of World War II Aviation. And I love that we have theater and music to be able to enjoy performances or catch a show. Now, I'm hoping that more activities like this are going to come as our culture grows and people meet and, create those communities that want to do these shows. So we are a certified creative district with a lot of shows and exhibits. You just have to go online and just find out where these are. And they're pretty cool. They're really fun to go to, smaller, small town community vibe, but interesting and just something different to do. Number 6 is tourism. So the tourism in Colorado Springs is definitely a vital part of our economy. We do get millions of visitors around the world because of our beautiful landscapes and rich history. Some of the best things to see when you're visiting here is, of course, Pikes Peak. You do want to make sure, well, you'll be able to see that for sure, but going up into the mountain, you can take the Pikes Peak. You can take the historic Cog Railway, which is a unique railroad system that takes people all the way up to the summit of Pikes Peak. And it's one of the oldest cog railways in the world. The track has a special rail fitted with cogs for a better grip going up the side of the mountain. So it is pretty steep and intimidating, but you do get the hike views of that 14,000 summit without actually having to do the climb. But don't worry, even though it's the oldest railway, it has been modernized and upgraded. So the full trip is about 3 hours. You can get out at the top and then you can do some shopping for some souvenirs. And then you can grab a donut while you're looking across the panoramic views. Now, obviously, if you want to see the snow-peaked views, you can go in the wintertime. It's going to be cold probably either way. Maybe summer might be better if you want to see all the greenery. I think the time that I went, it was just before fall. So that could actually be really beautiful, but the trees had not yet changed and they're mostly evergreen up there. So there wasn't a ton of color when we went, but it was still breathtaking. And so I always recommend staying at the Broadmoor Hotel because it's kind of in that area, or an Airbnb on the west side to get like the full experience. experience. If you stay near the Colorado Springs airport, you'll be highly disappointed. Also, try the restaurant called the Pinery at the Hill. You won't regret it. Number 5, let's talk about transportation. The Springs transportation is designed to cater to tourists and local residents. So you can take the buses to pretty much all the hot tourist spots in town. We have the Mountain Metro Transit, I think is what it's called now, but most everyone scoots around in their car. It's just quicker. It's more convenient. We also have an Uber and Z-Trip, and then of course we have Lyft, and people tend to choose those options. I know when I go out of town and visit other places, I'm not super thrilled about jumping on a bus and accidentally going the wrong way, so I tend to lean more towards like an Uber to make sure that I get to where I'm supposed to be. And then you can ask questions to your driver, and not that they're your personal guide, but oftentimes they like to talk about the area. I know when we go to Vegas, they love sharing information, and some of them are so good. They will talk about, we're driving by this historic spot, and I think that's pretty cool. They do get tipped better. Anyway, not to discourage people from taking the bus, because some people might enjoy that more, just for the experience. That's just my personal preference. I do love that we have the airport here. Having to fly out of Denver can be a nightmare. I've gotten to the point in my life where I'd rather personally pay the extra money so that I can leave from the Springs Airport instead of DIA. We're also big advocates of healthy lifestyles, so bikes and bike lanes are throughout downtown mostly. Well, they're throughout the city, but even like on the stairs, they've got like bike things that go up the stairs. It's pretty cool. But you can also borrow a bike or scooter if you are downtown. Number 4, demographics. Let's talk about the population and the profile of the Springs. Now, just so you know, I am a real estate agent, so I can't give info about certain specifics, but you can always use the links in the videos and on my website on the resources page to learn more. But Colorado Springs is the second largest city in Colorado, and our population has skyrocketed and is skyrocketing and is around 500,000 people at the time of this video. We're in El Paso County, which encompasses places like Monument, Fountain, Peyton, Falcon, Old Colorado City, Black Forest, just to name a few. But that's well over 730,000 people from the 2020 census in El Paso County. So we have a younger population according to the census, which makes sense because of our colleges and the professions, plus our military. Obviously, we have a huge military influence, active service members, civilians, employees, contractors, and of course, our amazing veterans, retired veterans. So if you want to dive deep into that, you can just visit the census website. We have a ton of apartments and housing options off base and on base. And if you're concerned about a political party, there's a website in the description of my video that shows the maps. But real quick about on base, that's if you're in the military. I don't want you to think that you can live on base without being a military member. So just to make that clear. But anyway, political parties. Honestly, I've never had any issues or quarrels with political parties here, but I also don't get in the middle of it either. Like, who has time to hate each other about what political affiliation they are? Like, it just seems ridiculous and silly. But I do realize that that is a major concern for a lot of people. So that's why I have that link in my description. Number 3, diversity. One thing I noticed about Colorado Springs is the many different professional sports teams represented here. When you go to the mall and you shop for jerseys and things like that, you'll see teams represented from all over, right? So during Christmas time, it was kind of nice because all of our kids like different sports teams. Like, I'm the one true Colorado fan. I do like the Colorado Broncos, but my husband is a Bills fan and one of our kids is a Vikings fan. So it is kind of nice to see all teams represented when you go shopping and you're at the mall and things like that. And since we have so many transplants from the military and COVID during those years of the Great Movement, I do see a lot of other teams, whereas before it was just a bunch of Colorado teams. So you'll see a lot of that. So that's pretty cool. Number 2, cost of living. Before we get into the cost of living, let's talk employment. As far as the unemployment rate goes, as of November of 2023, White Charts reported an unemployment rate of 3.2%, which is lower than the long-term average. So that's not too bad. It's not super expensive to live here, but it is moderately expensive, and inflation has really gotten out of control. But not just that, we have way more people here and property values have really shot up. So therefore, the taxes have gone brought up property taxes, some areas all the way up to 40%, which then causes insurance to go up. And then the bidding wars from 2022 increased home prices about 40 to 55%. So almost doubling in price, in some areas even more. So the lack of available homes for sale is also increasing the cost of housing. Most people thought that raising interest rates would help reduce inflation on homes, but it's only increased because now nobody wants to sell their house because they have a 2 or 3% mortgage rate. So go figure. Now, according to PayScale, we're 5% higher than the national average when it comes to the cost of living overall. Our median home price is around $500,000 and the median rent is about $1,500 per month. Healthcare is around 3% higher than the national average, but our groceries are 1% lower than the national average. But still, with inflation, I still feel like it's just way too expensive. And that's coming from a mother of a family of 7. And we are growing teenagers now. We're probably spending about $600 to $800 a month on food. And that's not including their clothes, their sports stuff, and gas getting all over town. But I am grateful that the gas has gone down. My last fill up was about $45 to fill up my SUV, but just a few months ago, it was closer to $80. So maybe we should have an election year every month to reduce our bills. The last and final thing, number 1, is crime. If you're concerned about the crime in the area, you can actually look up some statistics online, and those links are, I'm going to let you guess where they are. But I like to send people to Neighborhood Scout, actually, since I can't legally comment on this. Crime is everywhere, unfortunately, but Neighborhood Scout has a heat map showing the safest to most dangerous. Now, when they use that word most dangerous, it feels scarier than it really is. I've been pretty happy here. Haven't had, thankfully, and hopefully this stays this way, but a ton of issues with that. But I also don't hang out where crime is more likely to happen. Like, I don't have to say where. I think your mind knows where to go about where. I also don't start shouting at people. I don't threaten people. I don't do all those things that cause the likelihood of crime to go up. And so that helps a lot. The other thing is that it's important to drive carefully. Car accidents are a big thing here. Car theft is also one of our biggest issues, and it's probably because we're so close to a major highway. At least that's what I've heard. So if you're considering a move to Colorado Springs, it's definitely not for everyone, and that's why I created this video about the reasons not to move to Colorado Springs. It's the video now that's popping up on the screen. You should watch it. You should also subscribe, please. Thank you.